Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on sourcing coffee from Honduras. I am Amy, and I am Associate Project Manager at PRF. So we'll officially start in about 5 minutes as we allow more people to join. And Andrea is gonna join me for this part of the intro. Hi, Andrea, are you there?
Hi, how are you, Emmy?
Hi,
Yeah, I'm here to support you
I'm
during
really
this
good. How are
few
you?
minutes. Good, good, very good. I hope a lot of people are joining
Thank you,
So tell
thank
us a
you.
little bit
So,
about what
Andrea,
we do today.
sure. Yes, yes. So today's webinar is going to be all about sourcing coffee from Honduras. I was thinking that while we wait for more people to join, maybe we can share a little bit about PRF, the competitions, and everything that's going to be happening on the event.
Sure,
So
sure.
can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, so well, it's going to be in Honduras, and it's our 10th edition, PRF's 10th edition, and we have like all the goodies that we always have at PRF that people love. Um, which is the bars, the competitions. This year we have a new competition, which is the cupping competition, and we are also bringing the favorite ones, the cold brew by Toddy. We're bringing back cacao, which is our second time, and the roasting championship, which is also a huge deal. And on top of that, we'll have great workshops, conferences. We have a new process that's called the matchmaking. I'm sure a lot of roasters are gonna love. So it's gonna have like a lot of interaction between roasters and producers. And I mean, it's gonna be our biggest edition yet. It's gonna be great. We have everything. We're working so hard to make it the best edition, so people can live with a lot of good memories, but also with great relationships, great new businesses. And we've heard the feedback, and that's how we're incorporating a lot of new things. So if I could recommend people who are coming to join us in the competition specifically, they are the heart of PRF. They're really amazing, exciting. The cold brew competition is one of the tokens that we have, and we
Right.
really ask everyone to join us and enjoy the competitions from the perspective of the competitor, because it's really amazing, and it's a way to integrate fully into the PRF community.
That's amazing. What else can you tell us about the cold brew competition? I find it super interesting, that one.
Yeah, it's it's really cool because people have to create their own mocktails in a way with the cold brew. So it takes 2 days
Right.
in a way, because you have to prepare your cold brew the day before and then do the presentation. And the last time, the last winner, for example, on top of money and prizes, he won one of the best things ever, which is his drink. The one who won last time is going to be the signature drink of the cold brew bar this edition. So his recipe is going to be tried by everyone at the next edition of PRF. So that's a great thing. And a lot of opportunities started for him, influencing and representing other brands. Even with Toddy, he has done some things. So it is more than just competing and winning a prize. It's like a life changing thing that gets you into a completely different um, part of what being a barista or being a or having that love for baristas is all about. And yeah, it's your own creation, it's your own mocktail. So it's really cool because you can bring your own ingredients to make it special. Just the only thing that they have like a rule is no alcohol. But other than that, you can bring anything. This one, the winner was with
Mhm.
figs. It was like a fig
Oh,
syrup
that's so
that he created.
delicious. Right.
Yeah, and it's delicious. So you're gonna try it because we're gonna have it at the cold brew bar this year.
I'm super excited to try it. So, yeah, we should invite everyone to apply for that. So, everyone who's here listening to us, please apply for the cold brew. It's going to be a super exciting competition.
Yeah, and then there's
So,
also
yeah,
the cacao, which a lot of people are afraid of because it's It's different, it's new, but it's also a really interesting one.
Amazing. Thank you, Andrea. So I think now we have more people with us. So probably we'll begin with the webinar itself. So this webinar is going to be all about sourcing coffee from Honduras. You're going to be learning about key insights into production, processing methods, market trends, logistics of exporting and importing coffee from Honduras, and many more things. So I'm going to be joined today by Carlos Guerra from Café San Rafael, and Benjamin Paz from Comercializadora San Vicente. Both of them have a lot of experience in the Honduras coffee sector, and they are very well known there. So they are going to be the ones guiding us through this webinar today. So yes, let's meet our speakers. Hi, Carlos. Hi, Benjamin. How are you?
Hello, everybody.
Thank you for
Nice
joining
to be
us
here.
today.
Hi
We are really
everyone.
happy
Hi Amy.
to be here. Hi, thank you. So, the first part of this webinar is going to be about Honduras as a sourcing origin. Benjamin, what can you tell us about this? Why Honduras as a sourcing origin?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity. I think it's a very proud moment for me to talk about uh, my country, and I guess it's the same for Carlos. Very excited about hosting everyone this year, and excited about being part of the PRF. Um, so yeah, Honduras. It's a very diverse country with tons of coffees, right? We're the uh, biggest exporter in Central America, with several different regions that can produce different types of qualities, right? From all different ranges, right? Big volume of, like solid blending qualities to like top um, uh, like high end, super high end, like specialty micro lots. So it's very diverse, with a very interesting model of working, which is like focused in quality. We feel very proud of what we have as a product. Honduras, uh, as a country, has coffee as one of the main exporting products, and for many of us, is our patrimony, not only in the production side, but also in the exporting, and now in the retail as well, with all of the coffee culture growing in the country. So yeah, it's a country that has a lot to offer, a lot of diversity, lots to different profiles to present, and I would say like it's very approachable for most of the markets.
Thank you. Yes, and also based on the geographical location of Honduras, it has different regions, right, of coffee. So could you tell us a little bit more about these regional cup profiles of Honduras?
Yes. So as you can see in the map, there's pretty much the whole territory of Honduras is covered in coffee. Just two departments out of the 18 don't produce any coffee. The rest is just like pretty much covered with coffee. So there's six different main regions. Copan, which is on the west. That's actually where Carlos is located. Um, is one of the most known regions, as the quality has been a staple, condition for the producers over there. Then you have Opalaca, which is kind of like in the mid west part, high altitude, remote areas, with really dramatic topographic conditions, where you can find a lot of like super complex coffees. Then there's Montecillos, where Santa Barbara is, the region I represent. Montecillos goes from north to south and crosses basically the whole central mountain range of Honduras. That's where places like Marcala and Santa Barbara, as I said, are located. This is a lot of like super complex coffees come out of this region, and currently the first place in Coffee of Excellence comes from Montecillos as well. Comayagua is in the center of the country, right in the core. One of the regions that produces the biggest amount of volume, from ranges going from 600, 700 meters all the way to 15 and 1600 meters. Um, you want to find solid, good volumes of coffee, go to Comayagua. Um, then El Paraíso is on the eastern region of the country. It's like in the border with Nicaragua. Very well known for the famous variety Parainema. That's where
Mhm.
the variety is developed for, and has a lot of like Pacific influence because it's more in the southern side than the Atlantic side, um, with a lot of vibrant, beautiful coffees, especially with the reproduction of Parainema in the area. The quality has gone to an X level and it's really elevated. And then the last one is Agalta, which is in the uh, northeast of the country, mainly in the department of Olancho and Lloro. And that's a really unique area because it hasn't really been like fully developed yet, and it has a lot of like high altitude mountain ranges where complex coffees grow. I've tasted amazing tipicas from there, which is not like the common variety that you find in Honduras. There's like 50-year-old farms over there that aren't being developed yet, and it's a really interesting and diverse and also big region of production. Also focused in volume and specialty in the department of Olancho.
Wow, that's impressive. Such a diverse landscape when it comes to coffee in Honduras, which is also super important for when sourcing coffee, right? And I guess speaking of this, we should also understand a little bit more about the processing innovations that are happening in Honduras, as well as the key coffee varieties. So I'm gonna ask Carlos to join me in this topic, please, and share a little bit more about the processing methods and everything that is going on around there in Honduras.
For sure. And what a great introduction by our friend Benjamin. I'm very sure that he has been in every single area of the country, tasting all of these beautiful coffees, and it's a great experience. And we would love for all of the audience and everybody in PRF Honduras to have that experience as well. There are so many amazing coffees throughout the country, and sometimes when a producer doesn't know that he has excellent conditions and that he's doing the things right, and he doesn't know this, all of this great coffee can go to a big lot and be mixed forever, and you will never know this big quality or these beautiful tasting notes that this coffee had. However, in the last couple of years, I would say in the last 5 years, we have moved Honduras as a country. We have moved towards not only volume, but also quality. Although we have been struck by many situations, by global problems that every single country that produces coffee or other agricultural products for that matter are facing. However, I am very happy to say that in Honduras we have embraced all of these problems, and coffee farmers are united, and we are making the effort to continue producing coffee. However, for as far as processing innovations, the last 5 years we have seen an increased amount of um, um, processed coffee, new processing methods of coffee being launched. Now we have more accurate technology to measure the variables on, for example, if you're doing a natural, back in the days, you will have to check on, there's no way to check on humidity, there was no way to check on the temperature. And nowadays, we have all of this technology that we can do these processing methods repeatedly and more accurately and more consistently. And this has come, to the knowledge of producers, even if they are small producers in remote areas, or producers that don't have the ability to understand scientific concepts. But with some technological advancements, we are now able to accurately repeat processes one after the other. So I am very happy. For example, here in Copan, um, where washed coffee was the predominant. Now I like where I see everywhere honey coffees, black honey coffees, red honey coffees, all kinds of naturals with some yeast spray, new technology, new processing methods with different yeast, different molds. Now, of course, this is not the majority of the coffees that you see out there. This will be a small percentage. But for the people out there who like these new methods, I like to say that Honduran producers are ready, and they are ready to take, for example, orders for this coffee. So yes, some many experimental fermentations have been done, and with great results. We're now we're now working with what we call precise agriculture, meaning that many of the land is being taken by urban growth, and however, the land that is left for agricultural is being cultivated more precisely. So these are, we are taking steps into many um, problems that we're facing. But however, the innovations in coffee processing have not stopped.
Right. That's super interesting to know that you are also innovating in agricultural processes as well. So, speaking of that, can you tell us a little bit more about the coffee varieties that we can find in Honduras?
Of course. Okay, so Pacas and Bourbon are, let's say, I like to call them old school because Parainema, Lempira, and Café 90 are the new guys in town, for example. But in plant breeding and in genetical engineer, we have Cafe that works day and night, 365 days a year, every year, in continuing with the development and the genetical um, well-being of these varieties. Parainema and Lempira and Icafe 90 are three varieties that were developed here in Honduras, and that that um, they have shown a great quality in cup if farmed correctly. Sometimes, if not farmed correctly, they can be problematic. However, we have to learn also to be good coffee producers. But we have a great team in Icafe that is providing high quality seeds for us to produce coffee, and we have been, you know, with other varieties from Ethiopia and Kenya, they have grown extremely well in our lands here in Honduras. And proof of that is the Gesha variety, that either seeds from Panama or seeds from Ethiopia, they have adapted extremely well. And although they will not share the same cup profiles, they do share excellent cup profiles here in Honduras. The region of Santa Barbara, the region of Comayagua, and the region of El Paraíso are excellent for these type of coffees. Also, Geisha has gained so much popularity because of the excellent quality here in Honduras that many people, even people that I know, are cultivating more of this variety. So I'm guessing that for the next couple of years, we will be seeing incredible geishas coming out from Honduras, and maybe who knows, maybe we will compete directly with Panama at some point.
Wow, that's great. That would be also super amazing for the industry.
Mhm.
So before continuing to the next part, I want to invite everyone to ask questions, to leave them on the in the chat so that we can answer them at the end of this session. So yes, we have learned everything related to the geographical aspects of coffee, ecological aspects as well. So as that it is important for sourcing coffee, it is also important to learn about logistics of coffee. So for that, I wanna ask Benjamin about the how to export Honduran coffee as well as how to import Honduran coffee because we want to talk about both sides of the whole logistical part of the sourcing coffee from Honduras.
Yes, I mean, so Honduras has a big advantage, and it's the amount of exporters that are in the country. And most of these exporters are located in most of the regions or all of the regions, I would say. And the accessibility to these exporters is really easy now for both ends, for both the producers and the market or buyers, or like importers, whoever wants to come and acquire coffee from the different regions. um the accessibility in logistics is also easy. We have one of the main ports in Central America located just up north, uh, fairly close to most of the main roads, to most of the main cities, to most of the regions as well that produce the coffee. The accessibility that this allows, like it makes the workflow of all the processing to be easy. And there's, as I said, a really good representation of exporters in all the different regions that can make the process accessible. From the government, we have had a lot of flexibility as well, considering that the coffee is one of the main products we export. So they've been working alongside with eCafe to provide all of the services that are needed in order to make the flow easy and accessible. If you want to reach out to exporters, like there's many ways. The main one right now is, of course, the PRF. There's going to be a good representation of exporters and coffee producers attending to the event. Now there's, like social media and platforms that are on the internet that can allow you to reach to all these people that can be open to build supply chains with whoever is interested in getting coffees from here. Most of the exporters work in FOB terms, which is an important detail to know. Um, and there's a lot of flexibility in how, like to move coffees out of here by boat, by air freights, whatever the needs is, and whatever the destination is. There's plenty of flexibility for people to adapt and be able to like manage shipments.
Right. And what about the import side of, importing Honduran coffee? What can you tell us about that?
I think it's intimately connected to the exporting side, right? There's an important presence of Honduran coffee in the market. There's also an important amount of relationships built with companies that are bringing in coffees to the different destinations: Asia, Australia, um, Europe, um, right, North America. There's definitely a big network of people working to facilitate importing into the countries. And as I said, it's intimately attached to the exporting. um, I would assume there will be some key importing companies attending PRF that would also make all this information accessible. um, But yeah, I would say there's plenty of partners that Honduras has in the market side that would make any importation easy and accessible from our end, and also on my position as exporter as well, not only a producer.
Mhm.
Um, we normally have, like easy mechanisms and systems that allow importation in many different destinations to be feasible and accessible, and that's the case of many other exporters and producers in the country. I think that's one of our biggest advantages, to have the facility to make all these services accessible for people.
Right. So when speaking about logistics, this brings me to a key question, which is harvesting cycles in Honduras. Can you explain this a little bit more, please?
Yeah, the harvest cycle in Honduras is very long. I called Honduras baby Colombia, um, because we have a lot of diversity, and also, like a very long period of harvest time we have because of the different conditions. Um, a big range in terms of timing, right? So you have low grown coffee in the warmer areas being harvested and picked in the months of September and October, hitting the peak of the harvest in November and December. And then you have the high altitude regions with colder temperatures that can go all the way to um, June. Montecillos, for example, um,
Mhm.
is a very marked region for this. I remember having days in June and July where I will be receiving uh, here the first pickings from the lower elevation parts in July, and at the same moment the last pickings of the late harvest in June and July. So it's pretty much, like a full year cycle. It's not as marked now because of
Wow.
climate change and many other things, but it's a very long. So in some areas like Santa Barbara, for example, and Marcala, you would have, like farms harvesting in April, um, and also May. Regions like all of the southern um, areas in near the border with El Salvador, that high altitude 17, 18, 1900 meters, will have like main pickings in February and March. But then there's going to be a little bit of coffee here and there later in the season. And probably the most, and the later one is Santa Barbara. Like I've seen, I mean, from my personal, like experience, my farms, sometimes I do a pass or two uh, in the last 15 days of May, first 15 days of June. So it's pretty wide, and it happens in several micro regions and regions as well. Really, really tough sometimes for logistics. Yes, because you want to sometimes, if you want to consolidate, like some coffees that are harvested in the south in November, with, like the coffees, the late harvest coffees that are harvested in May. Like, yes, can be tricky, but there's always ways to figure this out. And just, like, note that it's an agricultural product that is exposed to, like weather patterns that change year after year. So that would affect, like these cycles, but most of the core is what has been described.
Right. Thank you. So you would say that you need to know each region to know when to secure your contracts and your access to lots, right?
Yeah, I would say so. There's of course, like that core part, which is December, February, March, right? But for more specific sourcing, yes, I would say you have to know very well what you're buying and where you're buying, in order to understand how the dynamic of the harvest works. And like it's similar in other regions as well as Colombia, I say, because of this, like different types of cycles within the same territory. So I would say yes. I mean, that's a great point. Like know your area, know where your coffee comes from, to understand how logistics would be.
Great, thank you, Benjamin. So we also need to understand the market trends for 2025. And I don't know, Carlos, can you tell us a little bit more about this? How is this looking in Honduras?
For sure. Well, I would like to say that we have seen different trends for the last 10 years, and the ones that always stand up are the very old fashioned ones. I see, for example, trends in women producing coffee growing a lot. And not only, growing organically, but coffee producing countries will, for example, Honduras will support this, and I see increased demand in coffee being produced by women. And this is empowering women around the coffee producing countries to stand up to a market where it was normally predominated by men. And everybody in other countries are supporting this. I see women here doing incredibly good as coffee producers and coffee exporters. Um, as far as other trend that I see that always stands up is the respect for quality and the respect for the origin. Coffees being of high quality and the origin being completely transparent do better in international markets. Here in Honduras, we now call all producers coffee heroes because every year the job gets more difficult through many different variants that happen, and I see that respecting this very hard job is a trend. And for example, other trends as far as consumption here in coffee producing countries will be that now we have very advanced home brewing equipment. And when the job of making coffee at home was either the dad or the moms or the maid or somebody else, now with these new coffee brewing methods, everybody can make the coffee the same way. So coffee is becoming more easy to make because of technology, and also the rise of these little pods, what they call the single serving pods. This has come to point out origins easier. For example, oh, these pods are from Honduras, or these pods are from Marcala, Honduras, and they are always in different colors, and everybody can make them. So making coffee has become easier. To brew coffee has become easier. That I see that it is a big trend now, and the quality has been incredibly improved, and the relationships have been, now with all the technology that we have, everything can be just a lot more transparent. So I stay with the old-fashioned market trends of quality, a great origin relationship, women empowerment, and quality.
Right. What could you suggest to our audience here who is looking to source coffee from Honduras based on these market trends for 2025? What would you suggest to them?
For example, coming to the PRF is a great opportunity to meet our producers. I think that the Honduran people are very obedient, and they are very willing and happy to do any process that you may have in mind. For example, with all the respect of everybody here, um, you know, infused coffees or different ways of fermenting coffee with different fruits added or different yeast added. If you like those things, I'm very sure that our producers are willing to do this, of course, at a price. And yeah, we're very receptive to new trends, and we accommodate very easily. We do have the resources to make pretty much everything possible when it comes to innovations in fermentations or processing techniques.
Great, thank you very much. So now I would like both of you to join on this discussion about pricing and negotiation. Can you give some advice to our audience? What can you tell them about this when it comes to, negotiating coffee from Honduras?
Okay, but well, for me, that has always been, the most complex of all the part of the coffee chain, and is the negotiation. But since we have, for example, the C price in the international market, we can part from there. And then what I like to do personally is to increase the price based on quality, or based on the years that we have worked together. Those will be the two things that will add two extra layers to a price. And also, it's also great to know where the producer end up with the cost of his production. Okay, we like to encourage producers to have their books up to date on everything that they have spent, and they can come up with a number per pound of what the coffee production cost that year.
Right. So, Benjamin, what can you tell us about this? What are your insights on this part?
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree with what Carlos has said. We have to take us in consideration, like, of course, the sea market, right? For the majority of the coffee that is grown in Honduras, that is priced based on sea market. Like, we have to take that in consideration. Plus, like, whatever internal differential is being managed, right? The access to the producer um, is there, so there's like a very open window to negotiate directly prices with the producers in certain types of qualities, mostly towards the specialty ones. Because of the cost of production increasing, there's going to be a push in upwards in the prices, because we have a really challenging inflation in the cost of production that is going to affect many of the direct trade businesses. But it's open to negotiation, as like most of these are direct businesses. um, Producers are very accessible to discuss and open, and I think that's a key for the future of the industry, to be able to discuss pricing based on what the producers also expect.
Mm.
I always make the joke about like, you going to a store and like deciding what the price of the shoes that you're trying to buy, or the coat, or whatever like is. um it doesn't happen in coffee, right? Normally, like,
Right.
the market decides what the price is going to be, or like x variable related to the quality. But I think we need to start seeing beyond that, as like some variables are kind of like out of control. The openness, as I said, that producers have would be key to decide what the right price is for the coffee, to see what makes sense for all of the parts involved in the chain. And communication will always be the key, especially in the conditions that we have right now with the market, that it's a great opportunity for some producers that have never had access to sell at these pricing levels. But at the same time, it's challenging for others that like, have to adapt their financial and supply chain to be able to purchase coffees at these levels. So there has to be an equilibrium, and the best way to do it is to openly discuss with your suppliers, between suppliers and buyers, like, what the best option for pricing is. And see, then like, we as producers and exporters are open to do that, and work on it. And then within all these discussions, you have, of course, like, the kind of like on flexible different tiers, like market-based coffees, and then specialty prices that are kind of like fixed based on quality.
Right. So that brings us to one last important part of this webinar, which are the competitive advantages on why sourcing coffee from Honduras. Can you both also tell us a little bit more about this, just to sum up what we have discussed during this time?
Okay. Well, in my experience, 20 years ago, sourcing coffee from Honduras was not the best. We were labeled as just okay coffee, and we have grown as the biggest coffee producing country in Central America, and we have learned through good fortune that quality makes things better for the income part. So in the last 10 years we have improved dramatically the quality of coffee, and from being coffee that was dry incorrectly or it was picked incorrectly, now I have seen that pretty much every producer knows about this and doesn't want his price to go down because of some quality defect. So I see that the majority of our coffee producers are fully aware of the quality that has to go for exportation. So with this being said, I feel that that is one of our competitive advantages, that our producers are fully aware of these techniques, drying techniques, processing techniques, that they cannot fail, and they keep the quality up. So I'm guessing that if you're a roaster that is looking to buy coffee around March and get it in your warehouses around May, that coffee can last, and you're insecure about that coffee lasting for the rest of the year. Now I can say properly that yes, it will. So that's one of our competitive advantages that I see in terms of quality.
Right. And what about getting ready for EUDR? What can you tell us about that? Benjamin, I know you know a little bit more about that part.
Um, I mean, it's been a very controversial topic, right? For certain parts of the supply chain. In my perspective, it's been uh, it's been good to get that kind of pressure because we in Honduras have had a lot of problems with the natural resources. Coffee is an extensive agriculture, and there's has been an impact in the environment. And I think for us that we have our farms in natural reserves or close to natural reserves, this is very important, so we can get the pressure to take care of the environment. Um, we as a producers in our area, we are prepared. We were able to access data and information, and we were able to measure all the data that was needed for most of the producers. So we are ready to face the EUDR. Of course, like there's a lot of information missing still, that we don't know exactly how things are going to work. There's a lot of back and forth, but on our position, we're ready to face it. We have systems in place that can provide the specific data from the different farms. Um, and also, we are adapting these new practices of growing the coffee in more environmentally friendly models, so we can adapt the coffee to our growing conditions and not or growing conditions to the coffee. The coffee is from Ethiopia, it's not from Honduras or somewhere over there, right? And we for many years adapted our conditions to that. Now we're trying to do the opposite and like make sure that the real sustainability in the agronomic practices is happening, so we can secure that we're going to have a healthy and clean supply chain, and we will be able to back up the EUDR without a lot of issues.
Thank you very much. Just to close this part, I would like to ask both of you if you can give a short takeaway message for our audience on why should they source coffee from Honduras.
Carlos?
Okay. Well, I have to say that we have a very exclusive diversity of coffee flavors. Although we are in the central of in Central America, and we do have incredibly great coffees in our six regions. If you get the chance to try them, in the next couple of days at the PRF. You will be blown away, and definitely I like to stay with the quality that we're producing.
On my side, I will just add and continue what Carlos to I will add to what Carlos said, that next to
Thank
that
you, Carl.
next to that quality, we also have great quality of people, great quality of human beings that value the coffee and value commitment to quality and value uh, what we have as a patrimony. It's a group of people that are very noble and work really hard in order to make sure that you get the quality and the product you expect. Honduras as a country has all of these great growing conditions, yes, but without the great quality of humans that we have in the production side, we wouldn't be able to offer that. So I would put the quality of people aside, next to the quality of coffee, and that's, I think, a very attractive reason to want to come and buy from these people.
Great. Thank you so much to both of you. This talk has been super insightful when it comes to Honduras as a sourcing origin. So now, just to wrap up a little bit and have a few minutes left for questions, we want to talk about how buyers can connect with Honduran coffee producers. So I would say the best way for them to connect with producers is to attend the PRF Honduras 2025 and the sourcing trip experience, which is an excellent way to create direct relationships with producers, to get to know the whole coffee production system, and to discover exceptional coffees. So when is the SDE gonna be? It's gonna happen from March 23rd to March 26th. We recommend everyone who's coming to the SDE to arrive on the 22nd so that they have time to get settled in Honduras. And then they're going to be visiting the coffee farms from the 23rd to the 26th. And on the 27th and the 28th, we have the forum in San Pedro Sula at the Copante Center. So yes, join us for this special edition. And at the end, we're going to be telling you a special surprise also that we have for you, for the ones who stay till the very, very end of this. Andrea, can you tell us a little bit more of what we have happening, what's going to happen during the PRF forum, please?
Yeah, thank you. So during PRF, as I was saying at the beginning, for those of you who are here, we have the 2-day forum, which of course has booths and exhibition area or the exhibition arena. But then on top of that, we have the competitions. This year, we're going to have 4 competitions: roasting. Oh, well, I went into another one, but that's okay. We have the roasting, we have the cacao master cup, we have the cold brew, which is like really cool. And we also have a new one, which is the cupping competition or the cupping championship. They're still open. We were closing them this week, but we decided to leave them open until today. So people who are coming to PRF, you guys are sure that are coming to PRF can still join. These competitions are really, really awesome. It doesn't matter if you have a language barrier in a way, because you can do it in English or you can do it in Spanish. There's Each competition has judges that are judging you technically, but also they're judging how your presentation works, depending on the competition, of course. So yeah, it's really exciting. And on top of that, also for all of our roasters and green coffee buyers, we have the matchmaking, which is like an activity during the PRF where each roaster will have 3 minutes to talk and to get to know one different producer, at least 10 producers. So it's 30 minutes rotating between producers. So it's going to be really cool because it's like a speed dating type of situation. So we're forcing both the producers and the roasters to connect, to talk, to get to know each other. So it's like a ice breaking thing. Then on top of that, we of course have private copyings. I think it's I might be
Right.
wrong, but it's about 16 cuppings, private cuppings. So you can go into the cuppings and try all the different coffees that are there being offered, and you can negotiate directly. Then, of course, networking. It's all about networking. So I definitely ask you if you are coming to PRF, come with your best attitude, open mind, open to dialogue to with different people, with completely different actors in the industry, from producers to machinery, equipment, cafes. Everyone comes here, right, from across the industry. So just have an open mind to start the dialogue, because you never know what type of partnerships you're going to start at PRF.
That's right. So thank you very much. So just some safety recommendations for the ones of you who are gonna join PRF. Please double check your visa status. If you need a visa or not, you should check that on the official Honduras Embassy website in your country. Also, double check if you need a vaccine to come into Honduras. We know for sure that those who come from a country where the yellow fever is present, you will need to show a certificate, a vaccine. And yes, if you need more info, there you can always visit hondurastravel.com. And before we get into the Q&A, Andrea, do you have anything special to mention about the sourcing trip experience that you would like to add here?
Yeah, this time around we have four different hosts. It's four different farms in different areas of the country. So you're gonna get to experience different profiles. This is a really great opportunity, because you not only get to cup the coffee and try it, but you actually get to leave the farm life for 3 days, like going through cuppings and going into the mills, and maybe cherry picking the whole experience. And you get to know the people, the producers, in a very deep way. So those relationships are usually the ones that last longer, the ones that come to the best fruits. So we still have 5 spaces, just five spaces available. We started with 60, so just think about it. We only have five left, and since we want to finish and close the STE, and make sure everybody knows exactly where they're going and everything that's going to happen, we do have a special pricing for everyone who joined this webinar. So if you are interested, you can reach out to Emmy, to myself, to Ines, anyone at the PRF team today, tomorrow, until Friday, and we can offer you this amazing discount, or amazing price, so you can join us at the SD. It's gonna be like, if you are thinking about sourcing at Honduras, this will be the best opportunity for you to actually breathe, live, and love the Honduran coffee and the Honduran coffee industry.
Yeah, thank you very much. So remember, we have a special offer for the ones of you who would like to attend the ST. So moving on till the very end of this webinar, we have the Q&A. We would like to reply to all the questions that have been asked in this chat. I don't know if you... Okay,
Let me help you, one question, because
yes,
you've been talking quite a lot.
great.
Okay.
Thank you.
I currently source coffee from Guatemala. Why should I go to Honduras? I would like our green coffee buyer to attend PRF. I don't know, Carlos or Benjamin, who can give me the best answer.
Well, I can give part of the answer. I'm sure Benjamin can
Okay.
add to this. Guatemala and Honduras are great neighbors, and we share very interesting areas, and we do have sort of equal characteristics in land. However, Guatemala does have more volcanic soils and does have other type of terrains such as high altitudes, and it will be a matter of trying and testing our coffees versus them. Maybe you can find, let's say, a better price here in Honduras than in Guatemala. Guatemala has been, booked for or famous for coffee for so long that I'm guessing that some of the prices are higher, and I would guess that maybe the offer in Honduras can be a little bit more interesting and appealing in that matter.
Benjamin, do you want to make any comment about that question as well?
Yeah, it's a really hard question because I love Guatemala.
Mhm.
um, yeah, I mean, it's about the diversity, right? Like it all depends on what kind of product you want to buy and you want to acquire. But like Honduras has a lot to offer, right? We have all different type of profiles and processes. I would say, I don't want to say, like we're better than Guatemala, right? Because we're as Carlos said, we're great neighbors, and I think it's like it's about, for me, it's a lot has to do about the people, right, as well. And yeah, I would say, yeah, Honduras can be a little bit more diverse within the regions, and you can have like a lot of different types of coffees that can be really attractive for the menus of any roaster in the globe, I would say.
Perfect. Do we have another question?
Yes, we
Go for it.
do. I would like to ask about this new generation of producers in Honduras that they are traveling around the world. What difference it make inside the ecosystem inside the country? It's a kind of
I
like
would
a
say, I would like to say that traveling does open your eyes. And as a producer, for example, we take for granted here in a producing country that the ecosystem are incredibly important, not only for us but for our future generations. So when you get to travel, you get to see, you get to open your eyes a little bit more, and how other countries really appreciate, the respect for ecosystems. So I would say that traveling improves how you think about your land and how to respect it more um, in terms of not polluting it, in terms of respecting it, in terms of just being more sustainable in general.
that's right.
Mhm.
Benjamin, what do you think about it?
Experience and exposure, right? It's like you get to see things, as Carlos said. Like, you have eye-opening experiences that can like help you bring important information to or origins to how to do things, take care of things, manage things, like to be competitive, to be globalized, and understand how like things work in other places, so we can like adapt to that and be better and more competitive. And of course, like the exposure, just like presenting um yourself, like as a producer, like and make yourself accessible to market, like a very key and important part in order to develop relationships and grow potential opportunities.
Great,
If I
thank you.
may, I have a question right before you go into that one. I have a question because I don't know if you said it at the beginning, but Carlos is national barista champion, right? And Benjamin was COE, coffee. I mean, cup of excellence, right? So can you tell us a little bit about, just very tiny bit, about how that came to be, like Carlos, in your case, becoming the national barista champion in Honduras? How did that came to happen in your life?
Okay, very quickly, I had been working in a coffee shop for the last 15 years, and I was serving okay coffee. I didn't know any better. And the place where I live, we have Mayan ruins. We have a UNESCO site, so it's very touristy. There's quite some tourists coming from around the world. And I do remember the one time an Italian guy came to the coffee shop and asked for espresso, and I pulled out what I thought it was a good espresso. I didn't have any knowledge about grinding. I didn't have any knowledge about roasting. I didn't have much knowledge about coffee. I just knew how to press a button and serve. And he refused the coffee. He told me it was very bad and gave it back and walked away. So I was incredibly ashamed, and I never wanted that to happen again. So I studied. I went to school, to coffee school. I went to every single barista school that I can find around, and it was until I finally got was told about barista competitions. I didn't know anything about it, and I enrolled and I tried always to do my best. I practice and practice how to do a good espresso, and that got me into barista competitions. And I was very lucky and very happy when I won the first place in Honduras. So that's the short version of how I got into barista
That's so
competition.
cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And Benjamin, you were Cup of Excellence, right?
Yeah, I won first place Cup of Excellence last year and also in 2022.
Oh, so
And
twice. That's
Twice.
awesome.
yeah, and it's all happened because of like my family. It's a family business, right? My grandfather was a producer, my dad was a producer. They both quit farming because it was difficult. I had the blessing of being exposed to a specialty coffee, um, right? And I just started producing coffee in 2012, so it wasn't like a long time ago. And I was surrounded by great producers and friends that were trying to achieve something in COE, and I got to work with them, and I got a lot of inspiration. I learned from their mistakes, and I just wanted to accomplish what they had accomplished. And I planted a farm in 2018 with the purpose of competing in Cup of Excellence to produce the best coffee I could produce, being redundant. And within 4 years, I was able to achieve that, and I was able to repeat it last year. And the goal is not just like get the recognition of the name, but also try to have an impact in the region here, where all of the producers can be aware that winning CO is possible, that like getting these premiums and this exposure to market is possible. And that's kind of like the main goal, and we're going to continue doing it. Hope I'm competing again this year with the plan of winning again. That's my only option, and if I win, it will be the last, so I can like I start like
Try
helping others to
champion.
to achieve to achieve the same goal as well.
That's cool. And are you guys competing on any competition at PRM? You have to say yes. You
Uh,
are champions.
I, I I'm not, and I guess Carlos, are you competing?
Well, this March is just so busy for us that if somebody wants to be trained, I'm willing to help, although there's not much time left. But no, I will have to pass this year. Although I love the stage and I love competing, not only because of what it means, but the impact it makes in our communities. It's been,
Yeah.
inspiration for others to pursue a coffee career, and for others to be more either profitable, more visited, more, you name whatever you want to achieve from a goal, from a price like this. So yeah, it has definitely make an impact. And but no, this month I can't.
Well, that's okay. Thank you
Another
anyway for
questions
your
there.
willingness.
Sorry.
One more question, the last one.
That one's
Can
for
the
Benjamin.
producer, yeah, can the producer export directly and remove the middleman exporter?
Mm,
I think so. There's a volume regulation. There's like a minimum that you can allow without an export license. As far as I am aware, it's tricky because the exporters play a key role. Because they facilitate many different things, logistics, milling. Not all of the producers have like a capacity to dry mill their coffees. Financing, also very important, that exporters provide. But yeah, it's possible. Like now, like you have social media. You can go to an Instagram account and reach out to a producer and ask for their coffees. but there always is the requirement of the logistics side that is sometimes difficult and inaccessible for producers because of the cost of it or infrastructure, you name it, different challenges. Um, and it's really hard to really, like, unless you have like a large scale producer and you have your own facility and your own capacity to export, yes, 100%. But you can have access to the producer and negotiate with the producer, and still, like, you have to, the producer can take care of the milling and the service with an exporter, but the access is there. But the producer doing their own exporting is not very common in Honduras because of just how the infrastructure is, and how, like, just, like, economic conditions in general work.
Right.
Mhm. I think we have two more questions. I mean, if we can just like
Yeah, sure.
give
We
very
can.
straight answers, because I don't want to leave them without an answer.
Yes.
Okay, let's go, Carlos, with this one. Why is some of the best and tasty? Why is some of the best and tasty coffee grown in Honduras, specifically in the Santa Barbara Mountain region? Why?
Okay, I would like to add that people from Santa Barbara, not only because Benjamin is from there, but from that area, but these people have really mastered um, when it comes to excellent coffee producing. They have a very interesting mountain. It's a mountain that is surrounded by the only lake, the only natural lake in Honduras, and it does have a big impact, having that huge mass of water next to their mountains, plus the ability to understand coffee producing. I think is one of the two keys on on why the coffee from Santa Barbara is very special. And we
Mhm.
recognize that, even though I'm from a different coffee producing area, doesn't make me jealous, but I have to recognize that the people here in Santa Barbara are, I like to call them experts.
Mhm. Okay, let's go to the last question, Emmy. No,
Mm,
I'll help Emmy here. Most people argue that Honduras coffee has the same profile as Guatemalan coffee. Can you give a small overview on that, Benjamin?
um I mean, it's a tricky question, because, like, there's all different types of coffees, right? I mean, in Guatemala, like, you have the profile from Huehuetenango, you have the profile from Antigua, you have the profile from
Mhm.
Coban, right? And then all the coffees are different, right? It's the same as Honduras, like, you have the coffees from Lempira that taste different, you have the Paranemas from El Paraíso that taste different, you have um, the Pacas from Santa Barbara that tastes different, and it's all different, and it all depends. Yes, I would say that the mass produced chunk of commercial coffee, yes, will be very, very similar. But you go into each region and you'll find very specific differences that have no comparison to others. So all of them have their own uniqueness, the different ways of growing. As Carlos said before, like, you go to
Yeah.
Antigua and you see the Fuego volcano and the Acatenango volcano and the Agua volcano and this, like, super rich volcanic soil, with this, like, super pristine, well maintained farms. And then you go to Coban and you see, like, this, like, super wet, humid, producing areas with, like, a lot of organic material that comes from ages of the decomposition of the soil. So it creates all different profiles. So it's very diverse. We cannot, like, say they're similar, because all of them have their own uniqueness. And I will just invite the person who asked the question to come and find out and taste the
He's
differences.
coming. He's coming.
And awesome. And then also he can also go to Guatemala afterwards and go also taste coffees from Antigua and Coban and Huehue, right, in all the different regions. But if he's coming, he will definitely, if the person is
Yeah.
coming, they'll definitely have a chance to taste all of the diversity coming from the beautiful mountains of my country. So yeah, it's great.
Perfect. Well, Emmy, you're back. You had some technical difficulties, so I'll let you close.
Thank you. I'm back. Yeah, so we don't have one more question, right? that was the last one?
No, that's it. We I think people are still making them, but then we will be here too long, and Benjamin and
Right.
Carlos have already
Okay,
given us so
great.
much time.
Okay, perfect. So I invite everyone who still has questions about Honduras to come to the PRF to join us at the workshops, the conference rooms. We're going to have super insightful talks and workshops as well that they are going to be hosted by the Zamorano University. So if you're curious about Honduras, come join us, please. And just to close, I want to thank to our speakers for sharing their knowledge and experience with us. It has been a super insightful and great webinar. Thank you very much. And yeah, thank you all for joining us today in this webinar. And we hope to see you in Honduras. Hope to see you at the STE or the PRF. Remember, we have the special discount waiting for you. So thank you very much again and see you soon.
Thank you, Benjamin and Carlos. It was really an honor to meet you, and I'll see you in 20 days.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
See you at PRF.
Bye.
Bye.